The rain came down like molten glass, sharp and stinging against skin. On the industrial world of Xerath Prime, the acid drizzle was just another hazard in a city where everything was toxic. Air, politics, and people alike. Corporal Ethan Hale ducked beneath a broken awning, the remains of a vendor's stall long abandoned. He wiped the grime from his face, exhaling softly as the glow of the neon signs flickered in the distance. He had come here to disappear. After the Terran War ended, veterans like him were discarded. The Galactic Council had declared peace, but peace didn't feed a man or quiet the ghosts in his head. So he worked small jobs, guard duty, repair shifts, smuggling aid to the outer sectors. He avoided trouble. At least, until the night he saw the child. The encounter. The girl couldn't have been more than 7. Her skin shimmered faintly under the dim lights, iridescent blue like the ocean surface before a storm. She was clutching a ragged doll and limping down the street barefoot, her large eyes scanning every shadow. Behind her came 3 men, brutish locals with stun batons and the swagger of men who knew they could hurt without consequence. Ethan watched as they cornered her near the wall of an abandoned foundry. Little Xerath lost her way again, one jeered. Your kind doesn't belong in Sector 9, sneered another. Your mother still owe us credits, little starling. The girl whimpered and pressed herself against the wall. Her thin arms trembled as the men advanced. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He didn't think, didn't weigh odds. He just moved. The beating. He stepped into the street, hands raised. Hey! Back off! The men turned, sizing him up. The tallest one grinned, showing filed teeth. Another hero. Go home, Terran. This isn't your fight. Looks like it is, Ethan said quietly, stepping between them and the girl. They laughed. Then the first strike came. A baton cracked against his ribs. Another caught his jaw. He hit the ground hard, coughing blood, but when they kicked him again, he stayed between them and the child. The girl screamed. He didn't move. He took hit after hit until the attackers grew tired, until they spat curses and wandered off muttering about worthless humans. When the last echo faded, Ethan collapsed, breathing raggedly. He felt a small hand touch his arm. You didn't have to do that, the girl whispered. He smiled weakly. Someone had to. Her glowing eyes filled with tears. You're hurt. He winced. Yeah, but I've had worse. She hesitated, then held her palm over his chest. A soft, green light pulsed from her hand, and the pain ebbed. The wounds didn't close completely, but the bleeding stopped. He stared at her in disbelief. You're a healer, he murmured. The girl looked scared. Don't tell anyone. Please. Ethan nodded. My name's Ethan. What's yours? Leary, she whispered. The rescue. He got her to safety. His tiny one-room shack on the city's edge. She flinched at every sound but ate the ration bar he offered, huddled in his old blanket. He learned that she and her mother were from the Valari, an alien race known for their grace, healing gifts, and near-extinct population. Her mother worked off-world as a medical envoy, leaving Leary in the care of relatives, who'd sold her debts to slavers. Ethan's jaw tightened. You're not going back to them. Leary's eyes widened. They'll come for me. Let them try, he said. A search. Over the next few days, Ethan hid her as best he could. The Undercity buzzed with rumors. An alien child stolen, a bounty placed by powerful syndicates. Patrol drones scoured every block. He knew it was only a matter of time. One night, he caught sight of movement outside his shack, shadows in the acid rain. He grabbed his rifle and pushed Leary behind the storage crate. Then the door exploded inward. 3 armored figures stormed in, moving with inhuman grace. Energy weapons hummed to life. Ethan fired once before being disarmed and slammed into the wall. "Where is the child?" demanded a voice, calm, commanding. Through the haze of pain he looked up and froze. The woman before him wasn't human. Tall, ethereal, with silver markings running down her neck and glowing emerald eyes that seemed to pierce through the world. Her presence was like gravity, pulling everything toward her. "Mother!" Leary cried, rushing out. The woman's expression shattered. She dropped her weapon and fell to her knees, holding the girl tightly. Ethan sagged in relief. "You're her mother. You protected her," the woman said softly, looking at him with awe. "A human." He nodded, struggling to breathe. "Did what anyone would do." "No," she said. "Not anyone. The Valkyrie emissary." Her name was Chara Valen, a Valkyrie emissary to the Galactic Council. She'd come the moment she learned her daughter was missing, but had not expected to find a bloodied Terran guarding her child in the ruins. She ordered her guards to stand down and personally helped Ethan to his feet. "You fought 3 slavers alone," she said, inspecting his wounds. "Without armor. Without gain." He shrugged. Didn't seem right leaving her there. "Humans," she murmured almost to herself. "Always reckless. Always brave." He gave a faint grin. "We get that a lot." The departure. They took him aboard her ship, a silver leviathan gliding through the storm. Medical drones swarmed him, healing what they could. Leary wouldn't leave his side. He was out of his depth among the Valkyrie. Their technology was living art, their movements fluid, voices melodic. Yet they looked at him with a strange mix of respect and curiosity. Chara visited him often during his recovery. "Why did you risk your life for someone not your own?" she asked one night. He thought for a long moment. "Because she was my own. For that moment, she was a child in danger, and I was the only one there. That's all it took." Chura's eyes softened. "You remind me of our first alliance with Earth, when your kind still had hope in their eyes." He smiled. "We still do. It's just buried under a lot of junk." She laughed, a sound like music on wind, and something in her expression changed. The Council's decision. When they reached orbit, the Galactic Council demanded Ethan's release. The Valkyrie accused the human colonies of negligence. The human diplomats called it a misunderstanding. Politics buzzed, hungry and cold. Ethan didn't care about any of that. He just wanted Leary safe. Chara, however, defied the council. "This human saved my daughter when your laws failed her," she declared before the assembly. "He is under Valkyrie protection now." The chamber erupted in argument. Humans weren't meant to be under alien sovereignty, much less in the personal care of a Valkyrie noble. But Chara didn't yield. When the council finally dispersed, she found him waiting quietly outside the chamber. "You didn't have to risk your standing for me," he said. "You didn't have to risk your life for mine," she replied simply. The bond. Weeks passed aboard the Valkyrie vessel Etherian. Ethan began helping with maintenance and tactical planning, drawing from his Terran military background. The Valkyrie, though initially skeptical, found his straightforward approach invaluable. Chara would often join him in the observation deck, where stars burned against the black. "On Earth," Ethan said one night, "we used to look up at the sky and think we were small." Chara tilted her head. "And now I've seen the stars up close," he said quietly. "And I still feel small. But I think that's what makes it beautiful." She smiled faintly. You speak like a Valari poet. He chuckled. Don't tell my platoon that. They grew close, not just through gratitude but understanding. She'd lost faith in the Council's ideals. He'd lost faith in humanity's decency. Together, they began to find both again. Leary adored him, calling him Guardian Ethan. He fixed her doll, taught her old Earth songs. Sometimes, Shara would watch them from afar, her heart aching with a feeling she hadn't known in years. The attack. Peace never lasts. One night, alarms blared through the ship. Raiders, former slavers, had tracked Leary's signal. A massive cruiser emerged from hyperspace, weapons blazing. Ethan rushed to the command deck. We can't outgun them, shouted the pilot. Then we outthink them, Ethan said, scanning the radar. Shut down external power, make it look like we're dead in space. The Valari officers hesitated. Chara nodded. Do as he says. The Etherian went dark, drifting lifelessly. The raiders approached, thinking their prey was helpless. That's when Ethan struck. Using an old Terran tactic, he rerouted auxiliary energy to the rail cannons, just enough for one devastating shot. As the enemy came within range, he fired. The rail slug tore through the raider's core. The explosion lit the void like dawn. The remaining ships fled. When the lights returned, Chara turned to him, eyes blazing with pride. You saved us, she said. He smirked. Guess I'm getting good at that. The confession. Later, in the quiet of the observation deck, Chara approached him again. You risk yourself so easily, she said softly. Why? He looked out at the stars. Because I know what it's like to lose everything. No one deserves that. She stepped closer. Among my people, such courage is sacred. We honor those who protect life without seeking reward. He turned to her, meeting her gaze. And what kind of honor is that? It is love, she whispered. And I think I've found it again, in you. Ethan froze. Chara. But before he could speak, she reached out, tracing a line along his jaw where scars still lingered. You stood between my daughter and death, she said. Now I stand between you and loneliness. If you will have me. He smiled faintly, eyes shining. You sure you want a broken human soldier? You are not broken, she said. You are human. That is your strength. The ending. Months later, the Etherian became a symbol of the new alliance between Valari and Terran survivors. Together, they rebuilt colonies, patrolled trade routes, and hunted the remnants of the slaver guilds. Ethan stayed, not as a guest but as family. Leary often fell asleep on his shoulder during hyperspace flights. Chara, now both leader and mother, stood beside him, her hand finding his as they watched the stars. Do you ever miss Earth? She asked. He thought for a long moment, then smiled. Sometimes. But I think I've found something better. And what is that? He looked at her, the stars reflecting in her emerald eyes. A home. Epilogue. In the archives of the Galactic Council, there's now a Valari proverb written in both Terran and Valari script. To be human is to stand before the storm, and protect what must not fall. And beside it, a small plaque reads, dedicated to Corporal Ethan Hale, who taught the stars what humanity truly means. In